In this section, we will learn about enterprise dashboards. Enterprise dashboards help with data-driven answers to deeper questions. A well-designed dashboard assures high performance and ease of use. It also helps in uncovering key insights and pace up decision making. Tableau helps to craft beautiful, impactful, and insightful dashboards rather quickly in a matter of few minutes. We are going to take a look at what is a dashboard, how to create an interactive dashboard in Tableau. What is a dashboard? A good visual dashboard informs at a glance. A dashboard is a visual display of the most important information needed to achieve one or more objectives. Ideally, it is a screen full of information that enables viewing, monitoring, and managing KPIs at a glance. In other words, we can say a dashboard is a user interface that organizes and presents information in a way that is easy to read. It consolidates and arranges numbers, matrix, and sometimes performance scorecards on the screen. It helps with data-driven answers to deeper questions. A Tableau dashboard allows you to add views from your workbook to the dashboard. You can also add web pages, images, and text areas to your dashboard. How to create an interactive dashboard in Tableau. Steps to create an interactive dashboards. The first step, create or identify views or worksheets to place on the dashboard. The second step, create a dashboard. The third step, add interactivity to the dashboard using dashboard actions such as filter, highlight, and URL. Let us look at a demo for creating an interactive dashboard in Tableau. We are working with data from sample superstore.xls. For our demonstration, we will create 4 views or worksheets. These 4 views or worksheets will then be placed on the dashboard. We will add interactivity to the dashboard using dashboard actions to give us a very interactive dashboard. Let's get started with our demonstration. We will create our first view or worksheet. Here, I would like to display the sales by state. Let's drag the dimension state and place it on the rows shelf. Let's drag the measure sales and place it on the columns shelf. Let's sort the records by sales in descending order. So we have the records now arranged in descending order of sales. I will create a set using the dimension state. So let me come here and go to create and click on set. Let me call this as state by sales. Let's come to top. I am choosing by field, top 10. The field chosen is sales and the aggregation is summed. This should give me my top 10 states by sales. Okay. So here you can see that I have the set state by sales. Let me drag this and place it on the filters shelf. So there you see my 10 state records have been arranged in descending order of sales. So I get only these 10 records. Let me rename this sheet as sales by state. Let us go to the second sheet. This view or worksheet will display the city by sales. So for this, let's drag the dimension city and place it on the rows shelf. Let's drag the measure sales and place it on the columns shelf. Let me sort the records in descending order of sales. So I'll click here to get the records in descending order of sales. I will create a set using the dimension city, and I would like to see my top 10 cities by sales. So I'll come here, create a set, name this as city by sales. Come to top. The field chosen is sales. I want the top 10 records. The aggregation is sum. Click on OK. Drag the set city by sales and place it on the filters shelf. So this gives me my top 10 cities by sales. Let me rename this sheet as Sales by City. Let me come to my third sheet. Here I will plot a scatter graph. To do that, let me take the measure sales and place it on the columns shelf. Let me take the measure profit and place it on the rows shelf. You can see that I get this one mark, which is the aggregated sales and profit across the dimensions. Let me get state and place it on detail on the marks card. So these marks indicate the number of states that we have. We have 49 marks, as you can see here from the status bar, which means we have 49 states. Let me add segment to the color on the marks card. If need be, you can change the mark type to circle. Now, these are aggregated sales and profit. In case you want to disaggregate the measure, you can come to analysis and uncheck the aggregate measures. So you can see we get the sales and the profit computed for every record in the data set, and that is evident from the status bar, which indicates 9,994 marks. We have those many records in our data set, and to quickly verify that, let me go over to data source and show you that we have 9,994 records. Back to sheet 3. So we have a scatter plot. Let me call this sheet as scatter plot. So I'll go here and rename the sheet to scatter plot. Let's move to our fourth sheet. Let us plot our fourth view or worksheet. And in this view, we would like to display the records of states arranged in descending order of profit. Let's take our dimension state and drop it on the rows shelf. Let's drag profit measure and place it on the columns shelf. Let's arrange it in descending order, and let us also place profit on the color on marks card. So you can see that we have some records which indicate negative profit here. Let's rename this sheet as Profit by States. Let's now create our dashboard. So you can see an icon here at the bottom of the screen to create a new dashboard. Click on this and this gives you the dashboard screen. The first thing to do is to decide on the size of the dashboard. Now when you're creating a dashboard, always have the target display in mind, which means what is the target on which the dashboard will be displayed? Is it going to be your laptop or your desktop? Or do you want to take out a printout of this interactive dashboard that you build? And should it be on an A3 size paper or an A4 size paper, etc.? To check out the options, just click here and you can see that you can select letter portrait, letter landscape, A3 portrait, A3 landscape, A4 portrait, A4 landscape, etc. Assuming that we would want to showcase this dashboard on a desktop. So select the size accordingly. Once you've done that, you will notice that the sheets that you have in your workbook are displayed here. So we had sales by state, we also have sales by city, we have the scatter plot, and we have profit by state as well. Let's arrange these sheets onto our dashboard. So please remember that all the sheets that constitute your workbook are going to appear here, and you can take your pick on which sheets should be displayed on the dashboard. We have these 4 sheets placed under the dashboard panel. Let me drag these sheets onto our dashboard. The first sheet is sales by state. Let me drag and place it here. Let me drag sales by city and place it here next to the sales by state. Let me drag scatter plot and have it occupy the bottom left corner. Let me have profit by state placed on the bottom right corner. Let us try to get some interactivity onto our dashboard. When I select California, let's see if this selection has an impact on the other 3 sheets. You can see that when I selected the state of California, The other 3 sheets remain unaltered. Let me select Pennsylvania, and you again see that the 3 sheets are unaltered. But that is not what I want. Whenever I make a selection here, I would like to see the impact of that selection on these 3 sheets. How do I achieve this? In order to achieve this, make sure that you select the very first sheet. You can see this triangle mark. Click on this and use this as a filter. Now, if I make a selection, you can see its impact on the other 3 sheets as well. Let me select the state of California. Here you can see that these are the 3 records of cities which belong to the state of California. Here again, if I hover, you can see that we have the marks displayed for the state of California. Likewise, you can see that in our profit by state worksheet, we have California state and we have the profit exhibited for it. We will also verify that there is a filter which exists for this dashboard. In order to do this, come to Dashboard and come to Actions here. The first thing is we can add 3 kinds of actions: a filter, a highlight, and a URL. Now, the filter that we have applied on Sales by State sheet appears here. You can see Filter 1. So I've selected this and I'm coming to Edit. The first thing I will do is to change the name of this filter. So let me call this as Sales by State Filter. So this will help me remember that the filter is actually on the Sales by State filter. So this sheet becomes my source sheet. So Sales by State is the selected one. This is my source sheet, which means here if I make any selection, the impact can be seen on the sheets that you choose as the target sheets. And I would like this impact to be made when I make a selection. You can also go with hover and menu. We will discuss about these options shortly. So let me select here. The target sheets, do I need the impact on all the other sheets on dashboard? Do I need to see the impact of the selection that I make on the Sales by State sheet on all the other remaining sheets? If that be the case, check all of these sheets here. But if you want to restrict the impact to 1 or more sheets, make your selection here. In my case, I do not want it to impact my profit by state sheet. Also, my Sales by State is my source sheet. So I'm unchecking the checkbox against profit by state and the Sales by State worksheet. What if I clear the selection? Which means if I don't make a selection here, what should happen? Should we leave the filter as is, or should you be showing all values, or do you want a blank area here, which means exclude all values? I will go with show all values. So now the filter reads as Sales by State filter. Okay, so now let's make the selection here and see the impact on the other 3 sheets. So when I select New York, I see a city here, New York City. So that's the only city which is available in New York. That actually is not the only city. That is the only city in the list of top 10 cities by sales. So that gets me to another point. I would like to see the top 10 cities in the state of New York arranged in descending order of sale. How do I achieve this? So in order to do this, I will just go back to my worksheet and add this action here as a context filter. So let me say add to context, and when I get back to my dashboard, you can see that I now see 10 cities in the state of New York arranged in descending order of sales. Let's check this with another state. Let me select Florida, and you can see that these are the cities in the state of Florida, just the top 10 cities in the state of Florida displayed in descending order of sales. And notice that the scatter plot and the profit by state is changing accordingly. When I make the selection here, for example, Illinois, you can see the cities have changed, you can see the scatter plot changed, and so on. But there is no impact on the profit by state worksheet. Why is that? That is because we did not select this as the target sheet. We selected sales by city view and scatter plot as the target sheet. And this is my source sheet. Let me now look at another dashboard action. So I'll go to actions here. Let me add the action. I will use highlight. And let me call this as state highlight. I will choose the sales by state as my source sheet, which means when I make a selection here for the state, I would like the selection to be reflected on the profit by state worksheet. Let's say OK. I would like the impact to be seen on all the fields here. So click on OK. So you can see that we have a state highlight action which has been added to my dashboard. Let's click on OK. So when I make the selection of California, you can see that this is highlighted here. So we have all the states displayed. It's not filtered because we've not used the filter action on this worksheet, but we've used the highlight action. So when I make a selection here for New York, you can see that New York gets highlighted. So all the states are displayed, all the states, which is about 49 states from our data set. But the one that we select here, that's the one which is highlighted. So when I select Michigan, you can see Michigan is highlighted. When I select Virginia, you can see Virginia is highlighted, and so on. So we have done two dashboard actions. The first one is the filter. The second one is the highlight. Let me add the third action to our dashboard, which is the URL. So here in this case, so let me first begin with giving a name to this action. Let me call this as details about state. So I'm using the state enclosed in angular brackets, which means the actual value of the state from the data set will be substituted here. Now I want the impact to be seen in profit by state, and I would go with a menu selection. Let me put down the URLs. So I would like the audience to go and view more detail about the chosen state. So here I will provide the URL. Let me pass the value of the actual state. And for this, you need to be connected to the internet. Let me click on OK. So we have the third action, which is a URL. It'll run on a menu selection, and it'll work on the profit by state worksheet. Okay. If you want, you can also blow this in the presentation mode. So let's get to the presentation mode. You can also come to the presentation mode by pressing F7 key. So when I come here, I can make a selection, California. You can see California is highlighted. And if I click on this, it says details about California. So this is my URL action, which is going to happen on the profit by state sheet. So when I click here, it will direct me to a wiki page which will have details about the state of California. I can close this and return back to my dashboard. Let me select Florida. You can see that Florida will be highlighted. And if I click here, it says details about Florida. When I click here, you can see that we are directed to the wiki page which has details about the state of Florida. Let me close this and we get back to our dashboard. In order to switch back to the authoring mode, just press the escape key and you are back to your dashboard authoring mode. So we learned how to create a dashboard in Tableau. So this dashboard currently has 4 views: sales by state, sales by city, scatter plot, and profit by state. We have used sales by state as a source sheet, and we saw it having a filter action which was applied to sales by city and scatter plot view or worksheet. We also had this behave as a source sheet and for the URL action, and we had the target sheet as profit by state. We also had this as a source sheet when we went with the highlight dashboard action. So when you make a selection for a state here, you can see the impact here. So you can see that Pennsylvania gets highlighted. You just learned how to create an interactive dashboard in Tableau.